At newly obtained security footage showing a woman being hit in the face at the Target right here in Blue Ash. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tricia Mackey.
And I'm Rob Williams. This gets kind of confusing, but stay with us. The African-American woman was talking with the manager about reparations after her bill added up to over $1,000.
Chancellor Nguyen joins us live in Blue Ash. She's going to break down the video for us. Chance?
Yeah, Rob, Tricia, this video has been circulating on social media. Now we are finally being able to put it on Fox 19 Now's newscast for all of you all to see. And it does get a bit confusing, but the woman seen the video, she's actually ends up being convicted of disorderly conduct. And I want to warn you that the video could be disturbing and graphic to some viewers, but we're going to show you multiple security camera angles and even the body camera footage from the officers when they arrived on scene. This security camera shows the moment a security guard at Target in Blue Ash punched 37-year-old Karen Ivory, knocking her to the ground. According to court documents, the security guard says he feared for his safety and called police.
I decided to take a stand. This is my Rosa Parks moment, dude. Don't play with me.
That is what Ivory told officers when they arrived to the scene on October 22nd of last year. Before the punch, Ivory was checking out a Target in Blue Ash with more than $1,000 worth of items. When it came time to pay, court documents state Ivory told Target employees that she didn't have enough money and that the manager should contact corporate to comp the bill because of, quote, reparations. But then things took a turn. You can see from this security camera, Ivory face to face with the store manager before security ran to intervene.
You chased the one employee all the way to the front, okay? You made contact with her body by pushing your body into hers. I just watched it clear as day on the video.
Okay.
The court documents go on to state that employees told Ivory the store could not give her the items for free, which upset her. Allegedly, Ivory followed the employee to his office and forced her way in. That's when the employee says he feared for his safety and punched Ivory.
He then came out and you followed him all the way back here,
Okay.
making him fear for his safety. You backed him into an office and you got hit in the face and you are going to get arrested, okay?
For him hitting me, I'm clearing this up.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, that night in October, Ivory was placed into handcuffs and placed under arrest, but then in December, she was convicted of disorderly conduct. Reporting live in Blue Ash, Chancellor Nguyen, Fox 19 Now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Man Cave. We are Ryan and Corey. You listen to the Much About Nothing podcast, a show where we give expert takes and good-hearted debates. We talk ball and anything and everything else. Today, we are discussing anything and everything else. If you got something to say, put it in the comments. If you're new to the pod, greetings. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notifications. Smash that bell. If you're already part of the fam, welcome back. Please hit the thumbs up button at the bottom of the screen. It's about there. Please like, share, and comment. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Let's get to it, Corey.
Yes. As y'all see that video, you can get the whole video at what in the world the name of it is? I had it right here. Crime hold on, let me pull up.
It's on TMZ. It's
Law
anywhere.
and Crime. Nah, I'm talking about the whole entire thing. It's a 17-minute long video. I couldn't put all that up there on the intro, nor will I be showing it during this episode. But it's a 17-minute long video. It shows all the video evidence, shows all the conversations between the officer, everything. It shows just about everything. 17 minutes of the whole ordeal, except it doesn't have audio on the video. So you can get a lot. I don't like the way that the radio and or the news network presented it. It did make her sound much more crazier than what she was, but we're gonna dive into that. I don't want to give you the whole spiel on it right now, but so to toss this thing out from what you saw, Ham, let me get your thoughts.
Man, you know I can't get into that without saying, what's up, Mr. Harrison? What's up, Kev? What's up, Tip? Tip first in the building like always. All right, then what was the question?
What's your thoughts on it?
I think it's never a good thing to put your hands on a woman. I think it's never a good reason. It's never a good reason.
I thought you were going to go the other way with this, man. From the start of this show, I thought he was about to say, yeah, she deserved it. Like, come on, man.
No, it's never a good reason. He was not afraid for us. He was more irritated that she didn't cut up like this and then gonna follow me all the way to my office and then come inside my office. He was
Yeah.
more irritated than afraid for his life. But
It's
yeah,
it's weird to me that because I would think if you were afraid for your life, actually, you might be scared to punch somebody. You won't scared enough to punch that lady. You won't scared
so,
enough for your life not to
but
punch.
that's why remember we had this conversation on the last episode. I'm gonna tell you, man, fear isn't a good reason. It's just not a good enough reason for me. I think the
Depends on I think you don't think a fear is enough reason because if you wait, then you might be late. When we had this conversation about 50 Cent get rich or die trying, I might be wrong, but I'm right. I'm right because I could have been wrong, and if I'm wrong, then I'm right. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, sometimes being late is not always. Sometimes you got to act on make us,
chance.
you know what I'm saying, a judgment call. So fear sometimes is putting on to a better thing. Like sometimes you gonna wait until you for sure or something. Cause when you wait for if you for sure or something, you might be late.
Yeah, I
Sometimes you
get
gotta
it.
act on, you know what I'm saying?
And to answer Kevin's question, what does he identify as? I'm unsure what he identifies as, but if I had to guess, I'm gonna say Floyd Mayweather, somebody with a quick punch but don't pack a lot of power.
Man, that man caught back from he
He
caught
okay.
all the way back, cuz.
It won't.
Golly. He didn't try to push the lady or nothing. He just straight caught back
He
and
ain't.
whacked this lady in the face. Like,
Yeah, but she ain't go to sleep though. So either she got a strong chin or his punch ain't that strong. I don't know.
let's start this thing off. The man of reparations, man. She went there, and I told you I don't like the way the news network went with this because they made it seem like she didn't want to. She was just going there racking up $1,000, and she won't gonna pay for none of it. No, what the lady said is that she didn't have enough. She had money. She wasn't completely broke. She just racked up enough and it got over top, and she didn't feel like putting all of it back. She was just saying, "I just." She was saying like the words she used probably crazy words.
Carl, I'm waiting on this. You
Yeah.
try to clean this thing up. I
No,
appreciate that.
I don't think like asking for reparations was a good idea. No. But at the end of the day, I think the news networks for negative is not the way it was sounding. She had money. She wasn't this broke person that came in, just went to Walmart, taking everything on the joint, pushing it through the joint. Give me this stuff. You owe it to me. It's not what you're doing. I think the lady was rather calm the whole time. In the comments, people was kind of mocking her for being calm, saying she was psychotic for being that wrong and being calm. But if she would have been crazy, people would have mocked her for like, you this crazy woman going on off. Now, what do you want her to do? If she feel like she's wrong, no matter how stupid it is, she's calmly explaining herself. And what else do you want?
Hey, you know what? I like that.
Two things
That
can be right at once.
I don't know. She was awfully calm to be so wrong. That's like, whoever came up with that comment. That's
Yeah,
God
but
tier.
what do you want to see from her? If she would have acted crazy, she probably would have been shot. So, like at the end of the day, I think acting calmly, explaining your point, no matter how ridiculous it may seem to somebody, she was explaining her case. Now, when she walked up on the woman, I think the woman had a right to be feared. When she jumped at that lady, I thought that lady should have jumped out the boat because she had her beat by a good amount of size. But as a man, because she follows me back to her office, I'm telling myself this lady better not try that. I'm not gonna strike this lady just because she's walking behind me. And then they made it sound like she chased them into the office. They kept saying running. I ain't. She had a quick little pep in her step, but it wasn't no chase.
I
You know
tell
what
you
I'm
what, man. I listen. I don't like to use the word crazy because crazy is dismissive, right?
saying?
So
Yeah.
I try not to call people crazy. Sometimes just because you don't understand it, don't mean that it's crazy. But I'm gonna say I don't understand this, and it sounds like you're understanding this better than I'm understanding this,
What do you
because
mean?
I'm talking about this lady. It sounds like you're understanding her better than I'm understanding her because to me, all right, as
I'm
far
not
as
saying I'm justifying her reparation thing. I think that's crazy. I agree with you there. I'm saying that she deserved to be punched. Do you get the right to punch a crazy person, no matter how crazy? Let's say she was bat crazy. I see tip. She could have been crazy all outdoors. I don't care about the statements. I think going anywhere and demanding reparation to a company is crazy. Yes, I agree with that. I'm saying no matter how crazy you are, does she deserve to be punched?
no,
The punch is unwarranted to me.
All right, so
From the
no,
video, I don't think that punch is justified at all. I think
no,
that boy
but
should have
it's
been a jail
you know
time
what? Here goes the thing, man. We can have this discussion because
if you was
like
scared.
I said, I said the same thing when it came to the. I think the threshold of fear is a low threshold, and I think
Mm.
that now I think where we are as a society, I think we really should think that over because I mean, think about how many things in life you really can be startled or afraid at. That doesn't mean that you get to act with violence. Like you don't get to do that.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
I did want
I
to
don't
go
like
to
it.
this because I think that's something that I did come to the understanding of what you were saying. I get what you're saying about fear because fear is subjective. Basically, what you're
Exactly.
getting at is
It's a
very
low
subjective.
threshold.
And anybody can say they were scared, so that gives anybody the right to kill somebody out of self defense. Because I can just say I was scared, but it's other things that a willing person. When you put it before a jury, they have to say you had to have the reason to be fearful. Do you like when they see that? That's video evidence. You can see. Do you think that woman posed that man a threat just by walking them to the office? Is that if I follow you somewhere, am I does that give you the right to shoot me just because I'm following you?
Mm-mm.
Because I
I
walk
think
into the office.
Tip seems to believe so. I would disagree with her.
No.
I think this is again. I think that we have gotten
What
away
if
from.
she would have got? What did they do with a shouter?
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. That I was telling you. We have gotten so far away that we don't even treat humans like human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're like I mean, as a human being, should you do that because you're afraid? No, like this. She to me, she's having a moment, and I don't know how often she has these moments. If it's often, she probably needs to get some treatment, some help.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's having a moment, and no, you shouldn't punch a person having a moment. But that whole threshold, like I said, of fear, I just. But back to the question of demanding reparations. Let's go with that. Let's go with that question. I think that's a good
Yeah.
question. Bravo
Yeah,
to you, sir. Good question. Demanding reparations. Two things can be true.
mm-hmm. God,
Name one.
let me close this door. You hear that in the background? My
No,
son
no,
playing with
no.
that toy. I'm sorry, y'all. Forgive me, y'all.
Yeah, yeah, I think she is owed reparations, just not from Target. So she's asking for something she's owed just for the wrong person. The debtor is not Target. The debtor is not Target. But yes, she is owed reparations. I'm sure.
Well, I I think that is something. At the end of the day, I'm saying demanding reparation from whom? Like who? We take it from the government. We take it from the who pays for it. Has
Who brought it
my
up?
thing?
Who
My thing
brought
is
it up?
not who
Who brought it up? Did Target bring
reparation.
up? Did Target bring up 40 acres in the movie? Who brought it up? Who brought
The
up?
government. You saying the
Okay,
government?
yeah,
So
that's
the government assesses money from people. Who do you think it should be taken from? With people.
you said.
That's what I'm saying. The government doesn't have their own stash of money. They take money from taxpayers.
Oh,
What
I get what you're saying.
taxpayers are paying for it?
Okay.
What group of the class? You going to take it all from the upper class, or you going to take it from just white people? Black people should be take a part in paying their own reparations,
Yeah.
or is it
So
separate? I'm
yeah,
asking.
yeah. So I think this is the way you go
What
about
does you? What do you get the money?
it. You find the tree that the money came off that went to PPP, those PPP loans,
PPP
those
loan.
bailouts, the
Yeah.
bailouts, the stimulus, whatever tree that money comes
So you
from.
saying all taxpayers should pay
Hmm.
towards reparations, like me included as a black person, all of us
Yeah,
should pay towards reparations. How much?
sure. I don't know. Whatever the going tax rate is, Corey. I don't know. Figure it
Oh,
out.
like $1,000? $1,000 to get them?
Balance the budget. Figure it out. I don't know. I know what the answer is.
It just depends. That's what I'm saying is that's what I don't think you should just say figure it out to me. For okay, a
Okay.
certain amount would
All
be
right.
okay with me, and a certain amount wouldn't be okay.
Okay.
It
All right. Well, how about
depends
this?
on what it is. Like I can't just say
Hey, hey,
reparation. It depends. It's a lot of things. It's in the detail. The thing is in the detail. How much is
I
paid,
got one
where it
for you.
comes from, all of these things play a place in whether I think reparations are fair or not. I can't just say all the time.
Okay. Well,
That's
let
where
me
you
tell you.
fall at. You think no matter what, whatever it takes, reparation.
Okay. So this reparations now. But listen, this is what I want you to think about. You ever gone to Home Depot, right? You ever gone
Uh-huh.
to Home Depot and
Mm-hmm.
seen like a pallet of shingles?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I want you to think about that pallet of shingles, and I want you to think, what if that pallet of shingles was $100 bills banded together to come up with to make it $1 million. Each pallet was $1 million. If you filled up a large ship, you filled up a large ship, it still wouldn't be the amount of money that we sent over to Ukraine. I want you to think about that. And you sit here and now we want to do an audit of where the money comes from. Like, no, we don't need to do an audit from where the money comes from. Like, I don't care where it comes from. Like, if
I
you
get
or
you
do you,
don't. Yeah, it's fine. But just because you don't mean other people shouldn't. You just saying everybody shouldn't. We should just be like you and care. People different.
no, no,
It's
no, no,
okay for you not to care. Yeah, it's
no.
people out here that do not care about a lot of things that I don't care about. That don't mean that I shouldn't care about
Oh,
those things.
I understand that, man. The
You
person who
might not
built
care about the price of gas. I do.
no, no. I'm saying the person that built your house, right?
Hmm.
Do you think they deserve to be paid? It's a simple question.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
think they deserve to be paid?
Yeah.
Right?
Hmm.
Well, I think descendants of slaves, their forefathers built America. They built that house. They deserve to be paid,
Hmm.
and all the benefits that have come from it. They've been kicking the can down the road until
Hmm.
hopefully somebody forget about it. And now we're asking trivial questions of how do we pay it? Like, how do you pay your car payment?
I'm just saying, how
No, I'm
is it getting
serious.
paid?
How do
I'm
you
not.
pay your car
That's
payment?
not what I said. That's not what I said. And you keep. I mean, you do this all the time, and at the end of the day, you acting like details don't matter.
Okay,
No, you're
details
asking
matter.
me a. You're asking me a loaded question. You give me no details. Just saying. That's just like asking me, hey, do you like this certain thing without any details? Maybe I like it now. Maybe I won't like it in a certain circumstance.
Mm, okay. Well,
Will you go to a Philadelphia game?
will I?
Yeah.
Uh, Yes, I would. I would like to go to one. Would you
In
like to
any
go with me?
circumstance.
I didn't say any
You don't care
circumstances.
about when. That's what I'm saying. That's what matters.
Yeah.
When, if I told you, man, I'm gonna pay your way to fill a game, you might say, yeah, more than yourself paid it. It's a lot of details that
Hmm.
just asking you, do you want to go to fill a game? Is what do you mean? Are you paying? Do you want? I'm asking you details surrounding the thing. I'm not saying, okay, my response might be, hey man, I ain't got the money to go right now. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I can't pay for it. Well, I'm paying for, oh yeah, I'm good with that. Then you paying, yeah, I can go, I can find the time. But I'm like, it's a lot of things in the detail. Just asking me a loaded question. Am I okay with reparation? It all depends on the way that it's taken and the way that it's dispersed out. Are black people the only ones that's getting reparation? What black people? Only the black people that's descendant of slaves, the ones that, because a lot of black people here that didn't wasn't people weren't involved in slavery. Like what? How do you? That's what I'm saying. Like how is it distributed and how is it recouped? Those things matter to me. In some instances, I would say yes. In some instances, I would say no.
Okay. So, if you ask me the questions and I can answer them, the first question that you're asking me, right? You're asking
Mhm.
me who. I am reserving it for descendants of slaves.
Descendants of slaves.
That's what I'm referring to.
So you got constant background checks to find this out and stuff like that, like ancestry.com.
Use the census. I don't care how you
Use the
do it.
census.
I don't care how you do it. I mean, I don't care how you do it. So that's the first answer. That's the first answer to it. Um, what was the second question that you asked?
How is it recoup? Like who are the people? You I guess you said everybody pays into it. So I guess we
Yeah, it's
pay
no
each other.
different. It's no different
Hmm.
when you make your line item when you make your line items.
Hmm.
Make this a line item.
I mean that's fine to me. If that's what it make people happy. At the end of the day, whether reparations paid or not, at the end of the day, if they pay it, I gladly spend it. I'm not over here about the just like the stimulus. When they gave out the stimulus, at the end of the day, I took the stimulus, the little bit I got, but and like I said, nah, I don't want the stimulus. But either way. If that's what they do it. They don't.
Yeah.
They
So
don't.
yeah. This
The
wasn't a
question is,
conversation. Yeah.
yeah, I don't have no problem with her demanding reparations. At the end of the day, I think going to Target and asking for reparations is foolish. But at the end of the day, no matter what you do, I can go in Target right now and sit and shout craziness from here to there. I don't think I should be punched in the face because of it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the question that she asked, yeah, she just asked the wrong person. Like she's saying that the guy down the street owes me money, so
So you
get it
saying
from
she
him.
should have went to the White House and did it, and
Yeah,
that would have been all right.
yeah,
Eh,
that's what she. Yeah, yeah,
demanded from Joe,
yeah. She
Sleeping
got it.
Joe,
Yeah, and oh yeah, and maybe
Sleeping
had
Joe.
ice cream, and maybe had ice cream with Joe, and they could have discussed it. They could
I
discuss it.
agree with Joe. You ought to go better. Only a black person can see Joe during election times, man. You got to be campaigning.
Yeah,
You might can get you might can get Kamala
yeah.
during this
Not,
time. Maybe.
no. This time of night, I'm pretty sure. Joe's eating ice cream right now. I'm pretty sure Joe eating ice
I think Joe eat ice cream all the time, man. Hey, Joe crazy.
cream.
Oh
All right,
man.
what's
But
the next question?
the next question is the big question. I mean, I'm gonna ask you: did she deserve to be punched, man? At the end of the day, do you think she deserved to be punched?
There's never a good reason to put your hands on a woman. Never a good reason. Um,
So a woman can never pose you enough of a threat that you a puncher. Like, let's
still,
say this
I
is
I said it's
I
never a good reason. I said it's never a good reason.
oh
There are
I
reasons,
don't think
but
it's
there's
good.
never a good reason for it.
Never a good reason. Let's say a group of women were about to jump Tiff, and you're the only person there,
Yeah,
huh?
it's gonna be a power reason for it. It wasn't a good reason. It wasn't a good reason, but there's a
That's not.
reason.
Let me ask you. That's a very very good woman. I tell you, it don't ain't got to be jumping. If one woman try to put hands on my wife, I feel sorry for you. I'm
But you
gonna
know
defend
what?
my
At
wife. At
that
the end
point,
of the days,
no,
leave my
no. You
wife
know what?
alone.
Now I think about it. At that point, I probably would identify as something other than a man.
Yeah, you're not gonna put your hands on my wife.
Yeah, I'm gonna identify as something other than a
I'm gonna
man for that
protect my
moment.
wife at all costs.
Yeah, I'm gonna identify as something other than a man for that one, for that moment in
Oh
time.
man.
Yeah, I'll identify as something else.
So it is good reason then.
That's not a good reason. It's still not a good reason. I told you what I do, but it doesn't mean it's a good reason.
What do you mean? So it's a bad reason?
Listen, man. There's always other options, ideal options when it comes to it. There's always we can run together, we can hide together. There's so many different options other than hurting another human being.
I'm saying if it
But
comes push to shove that you had to defend yourself against the
I
attack of a woman.
yeah, I mean I'm sure. And if I defend myself, no, I'm not punching a woman in the face if I have to defend
I
myself.
defend somebody else.
But yeah, if I had to
So
defend,
I'm just saying there are reasons. That man claims that he was defending himself. Do you think he had a good enough reason to punch that lady in the face?
I said no. I told you, like I said, I'm not gonna call her crazy. I don't. That's dismissive, man. But I think that she was having a moment. I mean, with the context that I have, like it didn't make a whole lot of sense. The argument didn't make a whole lot of sense. The way she was behaving in the store didn't make a whole lot of sense. Um,
I think because of that small clip. If you see the whole video, like her explanation, it wasn't like she was this. In the video, that's why I say like I don't like news networks that plays the subjective side. Most of the stuff that they're presenting is the testimony of everybody else. They're not giving her testimonies. Her
yeah,
testimony was very different. What she's
all right.
saying is very different,
Because it
and that's
sounds like
just.
it sounds like you see the sanity in this thing. So explain it to me in a way
I'm not
where you.
saying it's no. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think it's sanity in her argument of demanding
No,
reparations
I'm talking
from
about
Target.
in her. I'm talking about in her behavior. I'm not talking about
No,
the.
the behavior is what behavior beyond her out there saying calmly saying these things. Like the only thing I saw that was threatening when she jumped at that lady, when she walked to that lady and she jumped at her. Now at that point she was kind of threatening. But far as when the guy comes up, everything else is subjective. Everything else is subjective. Like from the camera view, she looked like she posed no threat at any time. At any
Yeah,
time. And when she talked to the police, she talked to everybody. She never raised her voice, never talked. She explained herself. Everything broke it down, and everything. I see from her point of view, she was wrongfully punched, right? And what she explained to the police officer right now, when she said my Rosa, that's not even tied to the reparation. When she says my Rosa Parks moment, she said, I have been struck and y'all not doing anything about it. Y'all making it seem like I walked in here and willingly threatened this man, so gave him a reason to punch me in my face. And now you're saying I'm wrong because of it. You get what I'm saying? I'm saying that aspect. Two things can be right at once. She could have been totally ridiculous in her reparation statement. And at the same time, she could be justified in saying that she should not have been struck. Even the man, the police officer saying that she didn't bump that lady. She never pushed that lady. She never touched that lady. She walked towards her and the lady stepped back. But to say that she pushed the lady, that's a lie. The video shows that she never pushed that lady. She walked up to her, the lady stepped back. She jumped at the lady, but she never pushed. You can see the air between them the whole time. That's what I'm saying. Like, that stuff is twisting the thing counter. I don't think that lady deserved to be punched. Not at all.
Yeah,
No way I punched.
I agree with you. I agree with you. She don't deserve to be punched. But again, the whole situation is sad. And and here goes something else that's a little bit about this topic, but not all the way. Some situations in life, right, are better off addressed as opposed to just ignoring until they become bigger problems. And a lot of times, in my opinion, this whole reparations thing, I think that somebody above you and I should actually address it. It's like an elephant in a room, and just by ignoring it, belittling what people think about it, or just not acknowledging it, I think that that's unfair. I think it's unfair. I think that the thing is, nobody wants to get out and say, "Look, it's not gonna happen. You ain't getting it." Like we.
I'm asking, do you think it's a possibility that reparations will ever happen?
Say
In
what?
this lifetime, do you believe that black people will get reparations?
No, I do not.
I think most people are along the same lines. I think most people are along the same lines.
No, no, no. I mean, but you know what the funny thing is?
I don't think neither.
I'm gonna tell you this is the funny thing, right? Like right now, all this money is student loans,
Mm-hmm.
and people campaign on trying to get rid of student loans, and
Mm-hmm.
then we had this thing where it was up to $20,000 they were gonna
Mm-hmm.
wipe away, and now they're frozen all student loans while they run it through the judicial system to see that if it's even
Yeah, it's not. They won't get it.
But here goes the thing, right? Here
It
goes the
won't
thing,
happen.
Corey. Here goes the thing, Corey. What was that money gonna come from? Like, what was that money gonna come from?
But let's go into it. I don't want to just throw it on the wall and hope people catch it. Let's go into the conflicts with it. Do you agree? First of all, do you agree with student debt cancellation, college debt cancellation?
Okay, so I gotta give one disclaimer.
Okay.
My disclaimer is, I have zero student loans.
Yeah.
All right.
My wife does though.
Okay. So my first disclaimer is
So I
have
do.
zero. I have zero student loans. So with that being said, right? As far as I don't have a dog in the fight per se, but just because I don't have student loans does not mean that I think that somebody else that it doesn't matter to me. I think that honestly, I think that yes, taking 20,000, I think that's a good. I think that was a good move
Mm-hmm.
because when you talk about how much interest they incur, that's all you're really doing is knocking
Mm-hmm.
the edge off. Like you're really just
Mm-hmm.
knocking the edge off. It was
Mm-hmm.
predatory, and it was predatory in the anyway. It's a
Mm-hmm.
predatory system. So yeah, I totally believe. Um, as far as wiping them all out, I think there should be ways to forgiveness. I like the word loan forgiveness. I like that.
So you don't think any money, because you think the bank's just saying y'all don't owe us? Do you think the government is paying the debt that these people owe? Because it's not just saying y'all don't have to pay this. What the government is doing, they're going to pay that share of everybody else's debt. So then it goes away. But a bank is not going to sit there and say, you know what, we're going to forgive you. Bank wants their money. If the government going to pay the bill, the bank don't care. At the end of the day, y'all want to pay it, y'all can pay it. As long as it's just like me going up right now and saying, I'm gonna pay what you owe, but they not forgiving you. It's just me paying it, and you're not having to pay it. So that's what's happening. It's not the bank saying no, you don't owe us this no more. If it was that, then I don't think it'd be a problem. The problem is the government is paying so that money goes from something else. That's also money that could have went to reparations. So it's people that might say, I want that money. I don't think these people that chose to enter into this, why can't we get this money? And that's why I think at the end of the day, looking at it as money can go everywhere. We saying this, it is a pool of money. The government brings in about $3 trillion a year in revenue from taxes. Now that money is split. I can pull up a graph on you and show you how the government assess where the money goes to. And only about 10% goes to things that we don't know. They saying that it's special programs that they don't tell us about. Right. But everything else you can look at the transit, all of these things where these money go to. And we act at a deficit. At the end of the day, we incur a lot more money than we actually make. We spend more than we make. And there's a crazy system. But the question is this: do you think they should use that money to cancel that versus doing other things? They could do other things with that money instead of canceling student debt. It's plenty of other things you would like. I'm pretty sure the things that you ask for all the time, that money could be spent to that. So now it's not me saying everybody can get money, but at the end of the day, I'm saying the pool of money should go to these things versus these things. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so all right. So here goes the thing. The reason why I like forgiveness, right?
Hmm.
Um, there are so many different things that we can do as a country to make it better. Now, it would mean foregoing some greed. However, I like loan forgiveness when people go into public sectors. Public sectors don't make as much money as the private sector in a lot of fields. I have no issue with teachers teachers getting their student loans paid off when they give a certain amount of time to it. I have no problem with it. Police officers, you go to get a forensics degree, and you're saying that it's forgave if you do a certain amount of time. Is I think that's good stuff. I think it incentivizes people to do public work, and
Hmm.
I don't see a problem with it. And when you talk about line items, um, I understand if you think. I mean, I understand what you're
What
saying
about
that
somebody that got a degree in fine arts? They've been to school 5 times and they keep switching degrees and stuff. You know these people. I'm pretty sure you know people that got plenty of degrees that they do nothing with. Um, that's my thing is at the end of the day, it's a lot of other people that made bad decisions, and then
hmm
there's consequences for your decision. So I'm okay with it, but at what expense and how much? At the end of the day, I think it's a lot more things that money can go to be beneficial towards the country.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because see, here goes the thing, right? Huh. This is the unfortunate truth, right? As far as where we're going as a society. Now, I can't speak for any other field, but I can speak for like housing because I do new construction. And I think I had this conversation with you about one day I saw a guy up in the attic. He was fixing our AC. He had to be 70 years old.
Mm,
And when I ride around, man, like a lot of the people that do the trades, it's not young people doing the trades. The
hmm.
question comes down to what is going to happen when we don't have enough people for the infrastructure that the country needs to do the blue collar work. Now, again, teachers have complained about salaries for years, but they kept taking the jobs. But what happens when they don't? You know what I mean? So at some point, we have to start incentivizing people to do the type of public work that we need done. I mean, it
That's what
doesn't.
I would agree with. I don't think I don't. I think it's. I think the problem comes in that everybody feels they need to go to college. Like at the end of the day, it's trades out here that can pay, and I think that's more beneficial to certain people. I think it's certain things you should go to college for, but I think it's certain things you shouldn't. If a person wants to go to college to get a liberal arts degree, that's fine and them. That's a choice you make. But I think if you make that choice and you realize down the line that was a bad choice, that was your bad choice.
But I mean, really,
I had
so
enough sense not to go, and I
see,
knew that was not going to pay off.
but see, I hate that, man, Corey.
What do you mean?
That's so unfair.
So you don't think it's anything somebody can go to college for that you thought was a bad decision?
No, that's not what I'm saying, bro. Like I'm saying, like if a 17-year-old, 17, 18-year-old was to go to the bank right now, what I saw today about if you have a good credit score, I don't know about that. All right, but if you're 17 and you're 18 and you decide to go to the bank and ask them for a loan to start a business,
Mm-hmm.
more than likely they'll deny you
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have any collateral, you don't have any experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like you probably want to get denied.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you go there and ask for double that amount and say, "I want to go to college," they
Mm-hmm.
give you that money. Like the whole system is broken, and so
No,
so
I don't. I don't think that. I don't think that. I think at the end of the day, it's more beneficial if you're going to college because you're going more. It could be studies that showing that more college people that owe loans pay back to versus people that take business loans and fail in business. At the end of the day, is anybody can go up there and say I'm doing a business loan and do nothing with that money, right?
yeah,
But if I do a college loan, I they know that money is going to college tuition because that's the money that is going to be paid to. So I think it's kind of different in a sense. It ain't like they just giving you $50,000 and say, "Hey, nah," but the money is going towards college. It's paying for something. Versus you can just say, "I'm going to get a business loan," and they give me the money, and I just go to the strip club.
yeah, but Corey,
It's a difference.
like now people mess up with businesses all the time. They shut them down. They file bankruptcy. They
Hmm.
write them off. Like
Hmm.
people do it all day long. Like it happens
Hmm.
all day. But you can't do that with student loans. And also
I agree.
I
That's why
also
I say it's less of a risk on the bank side to give out student loans versus business loans.
yeah,
The
and
risk is lower.
and so again, man, I don't want to sound conspiracy, but I think that the country as a whole benefits when its people are indebted. When they're indebted, that means they have to go to work. When they go to work, it's easily to tax them.
Hmm.
See, like so because if essentially if you did not have a large portion of the society indebted, then they may choose to not go to work. They would just only work enough to take care of the necessities that they need. It's a I think that system, whether I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to sound conspiracy about it. It seems extremely predatory. If I can get an 18-year-old and I can debt them down with $40,000 of debt, knowing that it's the last thing that they want to pay, the things that they're going to pay first are the hierarchy of needs. They're going to make sure that they have shelter. They're going to make sure they have food. They're going to make sure that they have a means to get to transportation to get to work. And student loans are the last thing that they're going to pay. And then what ends up happening is that number doubles and doubles and doubles and doubles and doubles until it becomes a albatross around their neck.
So let me ask you a question. You just said you have to have people for blue collar work, right? You
Hmm.
said you have to have people for blue collar work. Okay, that's understandable. But you also saying as an individual, we all need to get out of the system of blue collar. That's what blue collar work is. If we're going to
We
get out of that system, do you saying you saying people stand in the same system of going to work every day, right? Of having to be like that the rat wheel, keep running to work, getting to work and getting the money and perpetual craziness. At the end of the day, all your money is spent towards bills. You go back to work and you're constantly in that cycle, right? And the goal should be to get out of that cycle.
hmm
But you're saying that we need people in the cycle.
Yeah. So this is what I'm
So it's
saying to
kind
you.
of like how
All
do
right.
we fix that? That's what I'm
Okay.
asking.
Okay. So this is my take, right?
Uh-huh.
So All right, so an electrician, right? He has to go to
Mm,
school, no different than, I mean, not as long, but no different than a doctor has to go to school. He has to go to
not
school.
exactly.
I mean, it's not. I mean, he has to go to school. He has to go to school.
All electricians don't go to school.
Okay, well, let's whatever trade that you need to go to school for,
Yeah,
whether it's a
you can go
vocational
to
school.
on. Yeah, I don't say you can get on the job training. It's called apprenticeship. That's not
Okay, all
apprenticeship
right.
is not always involved with school. It's more so like I know how to weld. A person can come with me and watch me weld every day, and I so that and it's
Okay,
called like mentorship. And I teach him what I know. That's apprenticeship from a
okay.
smaller level. Now
I
they
get.
send you to class to learn other things. I'm
Okay.
sorry for cutting you out, but I'm
No,
just
no,
saying.
I get. I mean, I get the point that you're saying. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is, there's a amount of time dedicated to do it. All right. So no matter what it is, there's an amount of time dedicated to do it. If you're trying to get licensure and all types of stuff, there's an academic component to pretty much anything that involves licensure.
Agree.
All right. So if you want to be a licensed and bonded and insured electrician, I'm sure there's a component there. Now, what I'm saying to you is like we need to incentivize people to do that, not put a arbitrage around their neck. Like we need skilled workers. Now, I think that when it comes down to forgiveness, like I agree with you. I think that it is frivolous for somebody to go to school for art and and not, I mean,
That's all I'm saying. Meet me
if you go to
halfway.
school in a way, because at the end of the day, like I think that education is power. If you're passionate about art and that's what you want to go to school for, then go to school for it. But as far as forgiveness, I think that forgiveness should be in trades that go in fields that are in the public sector.
Okay. Well, we,
So
we we have reached the agreement. That's the only problem. I'm saying people that go to college for things that they're taking risk in, a hobby that they decided to do that really won't gonna pan out. That's not a good degree
I'm
to
not saying
begin with.
I'm
That's
not
what
going
I'm
to say
saying.
I'm not going to say it's not a good degree. I'm not saying it don't pan out.
No, it's your
I'm being
choice
strict.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm being strict. Like say like me. Like there's things that I'm passionate about. Like I'm passionate about philosophy. That's where
Yeah.
I went to school
Yeah.
for a little while for philosophy. Like
What do you
I'm
do with
saying
that degree when you get out though?
you don't. But
It's a
I'm
dead
saying that don't
degree.
mean that don't mean that you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying
No,
that when
I'm
it comes
saying
to,
if you do it, it
yeah,
shouldn't I shouldn't have to pay for
yeah, I mean, unless I was to use that information and go into the public
it.
fields and do something public wise, and so yeah, that's what I think that it should be like that. I really do. I really think that it should be like that. I think public things should do it. Like so, um, as far as that, yes, I definitely I agree with that, man. And not to mention this, this is something else I find egregious. Man, there's people with so much student debt. I've seen people with $200,000 student debt.
Mm.
Like, I mean, at some point, man, it seems exploitative.
The first thing I ask is how did you get to 200,000 debt? What classes were you taking? What was you trying to do with that much student debt? Because at the end of the day, we can. Were you? Are you a doctor? Because at the end of the day, I think doctors probably have the highest amount, so you make a high amount. So it's equivalent to how much debt you accrue to how much money you make. And I
Yeah,
don't know. I think that's an individual thing. I would have to know what they did. Did you keep changing majors and switching up and keep trying different stuff to see what stick? Are you just going to college as a hobby? Like, what are you doing to get 200,000 worth
but
of that?
but
At the end of the day, it would benefit me to get that canceled because me and my wife paid towards hers. And if it get canceled, then I won't have to pay.
yeah, but see, but here goes the thing, man. I think that as a country, we benefit by having educated citizens, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, and we've watched professors make salaries that are ridiculous. The deans of these schools are making 200,000. Like there's so much excess. I don't want to call it waste, but there's so much excess, and that money is coming from children that are financing their futures and realizing later that the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. So yeah, I don't know about that, man. But yeah, I don't know. Going to college does it make sense? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm not saying when she asked, so going to college doesn't make sense. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm saying it doesn't make sense for all. Like if somebody go to college for a trade together, there's several other things, degrees that you can go to college for that I think will prove beneficial to you in the long run. But I'm saying some people go to college at a something that's more risk. We understand that it's a limit. I think at the end of the day, I look at it like this. I was explaining to a guy today, right? Certain trades in the shipyards. It's certain trades in the shipyard that's not beneficial, and certain trades that in the shipyard are beneficial. Like Newport News is different than any other shipyard. So if I went there for let's say 33 and they put me in there, 33 suite, they clean, right? Now, if I leave that shipyard in particular, I would never get the amount of money to do what I learned at that shipyard anywhere else other than the shipyard because of the way they choose to pay people. It's a difference in trade versus having a welding degree. Is everything is different. So if I go to college and I get a degree somewhere, when I get out into this world, I face the same dilemma. It's how valuable is my degree? And it's a certain if it's a million people with this degree and it's only one job, well then that means one person gonna get a job and all the 999,999 people is not going to have a job. 9,999. Yeah, that's the word. People are not going to have a job. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's just a whole lot of people out of work. And it's asking me like liberal arts. Yeah, you can go to school to study art and all that stuff, and you might try to come out and try to be an artist. But it's a hard thing to get into because not everybody's going around buying everybody art. They're buying select few.
but you know, there's a benefit to me,
Uh-huh.
you know, and then we need to get to these comments after this. There's a
Uh-huh.
benefit to go to college that's outside the field. When I see somebody with a degree, what it tells me one thing, it tells me that they have the ability to commit to something. Like that's the
Yeah,
first thing.
I agree with that.
Like I mean, because I don't care what your degree is. Like it's not a piece of cake most of the time. Like it's like you really had to sacrifice. You really had to show up. You know, what I'm saying? You know my motto. You got to show up. You can't just. They won't just give you a degree. You got to show up for it. So
Mm-hmm.
like that right there tells me they have a level of commitment.
To my like a
Also,
diploma though, because a diploma showed the fact that you was committed to something you completed. I agree with that. Yeah.
so like you know I'm not going to say that the degree is worthless. Secondly, you know, being around intellectuals teaches you to think a certain type of way. It teaches you like there's a lot of valuable lessons you can get from going to university. Like I definitely think that you know the way that you think, you know, it's. I'm not going to say that there's any stupid degrees. I'm not going to say any stupid degrees. I'm just saying that as far as forgiving about things, certain things. But yeah, there's
I
things.
don't want to say I maybe I'm too blunt when I say stupid degrees. I'm saying less valuable degrees. I think
Okay,
it's going to
yeah,
school for a brain surgeon is very much different than going to school for. I guarantee if you come out with that degree, most likely you're gonna have a job that pays well.
yeah. Unless you're not good at it.
Well, you probably wouldn't have got the degree. I'm pretty sure even the dumbest surgeon got a job. If you finish and you got that degree, you think it's a person that has a degree
Hmm.
like in surgery got out and he don't have a job.
Not in that field.
Not in that but he has a job. He got a job with that degree, man. It's no way.
I'm saying like I'm
That's
pretty
like
sure.
8 years of college.
I'm saying the guy that leaves scalpels inside people, like that guy, that irresponsible guy. I'm sure that he's not doing surgery
Hey,
anymore.
believe it or not,
I'm
man,
sure that he's
I
doing
know a
something
person,
else.
right? I know this girl, right? My wife does the hiring for people, right? But she does a hire for this nurse, and they had to work with this nurse, man. And this nurse was totally bad, like totally bad. You unbelievable. She would forget stuff. She would mess, and this is big stuff. Like with patients, a patient actually lost her job because of this nurse, and this was the third strike, and they had to fire this girl. But I'm pretty sure when that girl left, well, they told her to quit. Probably the best because you don't want that firing on your record because then it would be hard for you to get another job. But I'm pretty sure she got another job to today because it's a shortage of nurses. Everybody want to hire and
Yeah,
try to
I mean,
fix.
and I'm gonna tell you this: one of the guys in Virginia Beach that is a real estate agent that actually outproduced me. He used to be a surgeon. He
For
was a
real.
surgeon. Now he sells real estate.
We love scalpels and people.
I don't know why he did.
Yeah, I don't know. You need to
Yeah,
check. You need to check. You need to check behind him, then, man. Make
yeah,
sure
but
he
he's
filling that
but it
paperwork out right.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I mean, my conversations with him, he's a brilliant man. Like, I mean,
All right, he
he's
might
a
be like
brilliant
Ozark. Might end up like Ozark now. Man's run up in there, tie y'all
guy.
up.
Yeah, yeah, it could be. Yeah, or
Miscounted
sometimes
paperwork.
you know, and sometimes, man, sometimes you just don't want to see people at their worst.
Yeah, you got a point.
You know, I mean, there's so many different variables why you just don't want to do it no more. But I mean, whatever it is, he's successful in this field. I have people that there's real estate agents that I meet on a day to day basis that have master's degrees, bachelor's degrees. All I mean, you see it all the time, and their field wasn't in real estate.
Well, let's shout out these comments, man. For real, for real. We really don't do our due diligence to go through these comments. Let's go through here.
Uh,
Tiff over here trying to throw some shade. Do preachers get student loans to go to school? I don't know. I ain't get student loans to go to school. To preach, I think depends. I don't know how a person like. Do you go to Bible school? Do people get a degree in theology? Yes, but most of I mean, yeah, people get student loans.
is
I
that is
don't.
that
I would
is that a
agree
good
that
degree?
people should. Huh?
Is that a good
I
degree?
think that should be a degree you should have to pay for. I'm not absolving my things of this stuff. If I took out a loan to go get a degree in liberal arts, I wouldn't say government please pay that off for me. I would pay
What
that
about
off for myself.
What about theology though?
Yeah, I would pay that off myself. If I went to school for theology, I'd just pay it off myself. I went to school for apprenticeship, and the company that I worked for paid for my schooling.
Okay,
They paid for my schooling for work. It's
so
work for school. But
okay,
yeah, I would agree. That's an arts degree. I'm not absolving that, and I'm not sitting back and saying, you know what, them preachers deserve to get their loan paid off. Nah, they should pay that just like everybody else does. Not absolving. I'm saying, let's say those blue collar jobs, them things that get infrastructure and stuff like that, of that nature. Maybe that should be paid off. So you only agree with degrees of sciences. Not particularly. It don't have to be sciences, but it could be something that's let me see, doctors, lawyers, teachers. I don't even think you got to have a. What degree do you have to be a teacher? A bachelor or associates
you get a
to
bachelor's.
teach? You need a bachelor's to teach.
I thought so.
It's a pointless degree too, right? I wouldn't say it's pointless. I'm not saying any of these degrees are pointless. I'm saying less valuable to the other things. It might be valuable to you. If it's only a degree that only benefits you, then it's probably it could be like me going to get a degree in theology would be beneficial towards me. Somebody else might not see it as valuable, but it's valuable to me. And I would like to go for that.
Okay.
That's a choice I would make. And I would pay for that. But saying coming out there and thinking I'm gonna make money off of this, it depends. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think all debt should be canceled.
Yeah,
That's all.
like I said, and I think that if I was in a position to be the president, I'm gonna tell you one of the things that I would do is I would be looking to if you're going to school for the trades, I think that makes sense. Like that
Hmm.
feels like I remember listening to stories as a kid when they I was always intrigued by the interstates and the bridges and like the roads that we have. Like I like to me, and then we're hearing the story of that's how they how they got America back working by doing infrastructure. I think that's brilliant.
Hmm.
I think that getting people working, doing meaningful work,
Hmm.
like I think that is the way to go. Like, but if you have to invest this amount of debt in order to do it, why would you do it? It doesn't make sense. You better off just streaming online. Like,
What?
why would you do it?
I would
Like
agree with you though.
serious.
I would agree with you
So
there.
so
Hey,
like
that's
yeah,
something we
like
agree with.
I think that the government would be wise to these kids coming out of school like
Incentivize
it's
infrastructure.
incentivize it. Like if you picking up a hammer, if you're doing this or you're doing that, like we'll send you to school to be an electrician. We'll see because that makes America like that. And when you ask me a question about getting out of the rat race and doing things like that, when you have it, when you are empowered with a trade that you can go out and make a meaningful wage for yourself, you're less likely to be out doing foolish stuff.
I don't know. I
Like,
think hold on. I'm thinking about this thing. Half of the reason why I make the money I make is because it's not that many people that go out there be welders no more. It's not that many of us. At the end of the day, it's probably only a handful of people that do pipe welding on the East Coast that's willing to transfer the jobs or not. So they got to pay a absurd amount of money to get welders to leave their careers and go down there and contract to that place. So it's kind of beneficial for me to keep the margins thin, to keep a thin crop of people over there. Ain't nobody graduating high school saying I want to be a welder. I just don't think that. We so I mean, you're long my the more welders it is, at the end of the day, is my money will go down if you put a
see,
lot more people in the crop of that.
see, and this is where this and again, it always comes down to our fundamental disagreement on you know that whole wage system that we have.
You don't think it'll happen like that? You put
Well,
more people welders in there, then they can
nah,
pay welders
because
less.
nah, I think that the fact of the matter is this: the employment system will work itself out. There's never going to be more workers than there are work when it comes to the
Let me
trades, in my
ask, do you
opinion.
believe in supply and demand? You have to believe in supply and demand, right?
Yes.
If you overproduce the supply of workers, of course the demand is going to be lower. And if the is lower, then the pay will be lower.
Hmm.
That's just
Yeah, I think that's the
basic
way.
economics.
I think. Listen, to this every single year. See, I have a license number, right?
Mhm.
And that license number it goes from there's people who've had real estate license so long ago they have a 3-digit number. My digit, I have a 5-digit number. I'm not checking for how many people are going to get real estate license. I could care less.
Mhm.
I'm going to continue to do my job. I'm going to be very good at my job, and I don't
Mhm.
care who gets a license after me. But if that's a means for them to support their family, oh well. I mean,
Mhm.
like, just go for it. As far as like, how I think is like, sometimes I look at things and say like, I get stuck behind the train. I get stuck behind the train sometimes, and I watch that train going back and going forth and going back and think that man, we put somebody on the moon.
Mhm.
We ain't got nothing better than this. Like we can't figure this out no better than this. Like this looks terrible. Like this doesn't make sense. Like there's so many different things that if we educated, I believe this is my opinion. If we educate our civilians and we put them in trades and we incentivize going to school as opposed to it being this big debt man, I think that that's how we make America great. And I'm not saying
Mhm.
again. I'm just saying that's how we make America great. Because I'm
Mhm.
gonna tell you one thing that I've realized when you empower someone by saying you have this license, you can go out and do this. They don't want to gang bang. They don't want to shoot people. They want to go to work.
They want to go to work.
They want to go to work. So,
I
but
agree with you. I agree with
and
this.
so I think that instead of building prisons, we should use that money for other things. And so that's another good question. Okay, so if you
Get
want to
rid of
fight about it,
prisons? You don't
I ain't
think
say
prisons are needed?
that's not what I'm
Oh,
saying. I'm
I
not saying
I
that. I'm
can tell
saying
you that.
I'm saying that there's a lot of nonviolent offenders in that thing that we probably could save a few dollars by letting them go home. I think so.
Depends on what the crime is.
I don't if it has anything to do with marijuana, go home.
Embezzlement is a non-violent crime.
Okay, all right. Well, how about this? Let's start with this one. It has
Mhm.
anything to do with marijuana. I don't care
Yeah,
how much it is. Go home.
I would agree with that.
Just go home.
I don't think I
Just
don't
go
think
home.
marijuana. I don't think a person should be locked up for marijuana. Yeah,
Just go home.
should prisons be private? I think prisons are private. I think prisons are private. Eh?
No,
They're government funded. All prisons. I think companies own prisons and they
that's not
make
not
money.
that. No, no,
Hold
no,
on,
no, no, no. The state owns state prisons. Now,
state prison. But I'm
yeah,
talking about
some
like,
and the city owns city jails,
yeah, I get it. I'm talking
and the
about
Fed
like
has Fed prisons. There are
federal
some.
prison.
There's some of the prisons are private, but I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you like here's a prime example. Like I have a family member that works in the prison. She is a state employee. You get what I'm saying? That's a
Uh huh.
state. That's a state run facility. A lot of these prisons they produce products for the rest of the state. So if you have a state that has uniforms, or if you work in a state job that has uniforms, a lot of times prisons create those. So yeah, they are, and they get paid terribly.
32%, 32% of people are housed in private prisons. Yeah, you're right. It's separated. I ain't.
Yeah,
Well, I knew I heard of private prisons though. I'm like, I
yeah.
knew it
It's
ain't.
something. It's some of them. It's
I
some of
just
them.
I don't know that much about it.
Yeah. So,
But I do
but yeah,
want to
yeah. Go ahead. What you saying? What you saying,
I
brother?
do want to say, Tiff, I was just being facetious. Sometimes I can't sound like I'm being serious. I know you won't being serious about that. Yeah, but I don't have a preaching degree. I have a license to minister, and I'm ordained to be a youth pastor. But I have a license to minister. Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna go through these comments. Right. I'm gonna
Yeah.
start from the bottom. Here we go. All right. For one, I didn't get an opportunity to say that. Hey, what is up, Mr. and Mrs. Hampton? Thank you for being here. I feel like I miss AD. Thanks for being here, brother. If I miss anybody, charge it to my mind, not to my heart. And here we go. Start from the bottom.
Now
Um,
we're here.
start from the bottom. There we is. Yeah. All right. So we talked about. We already talked about the Target incident. Um, AD says it should be paid with that fake pot of money that they use to pay everything else, like the money sent to Ukraine. Man, I'm gonna tell you, I have gotten down this wormhole, AD, of
Oh, the
understanding
Ukraine
money.
thing.
Nah, I'm just talking about
Oh,
understanding money, period. And how do we went to the fractional reserve system, like, and understanding like what is going on with the America having the dollar as the world currency. Like I've been going down this
yeah.
wormhole.
That's something that we agree on. You know, I think this gonna take a dangerous turn. It might sound. I don't say it because people gonna say I sound ludicrous, but I think it's a huge thing. And the guy that created Cash App getting murdered.
Yeah, so
And like
I've done the research,
they,
and the fact
go
is
down
about
that
it,
rabbit hole if you want to.
only 5% of transactions, and on the global side, are with China backed money.
Mhm.
Like America has 50% of the money. It used to be 70, but we have 50% is used. So we're in no place. And the next country at 20% is the European euro. So like we're in no position where anything is going to happen immediately, but we are going in the opposite direction.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but again, yes, just like paid represent. Yes, we pay reparations for slave owners for losing their slaves. This is true, Corey. Um, Tiff said
I
she saw
don't see
this.
none of that. I'm trying to see when where you said it
Tiff said
coming.
Tiff said that she saw today that 350K per person. That's a lot of money. I don't know what the actual value is, but I'm gonna tell you, man. I do. This is one thing that I do believe. The thought that this will just go away is not true. Like I do believe that when Nelson Mandela said, in order for a country to heal, one, they have to acknowledge the atrocities, and once you acknowledge the atrocities,
I don't think
it,
people. Do you think people do not acknowledge that slavery happened?
yeah. But see,
And there was a horrible thing.
no, I think they don't acknowledge the things that have transpired since, and it wasn't just slavery that's the problem. So
And
so
how does money say? I don't think money is acknowledged, but I think money is just paid out. But a person can pay you, like let's say Deshaun Watson paid the people they said sexually assaulted him, and that he sexually assaulted. He paid them money, but I don't think he acknowledged that he did. He just paid them the money to get on with it. But that's not acknowledging that he's taking any level
I
of.
I get
You know
what
what
you
I'm saying?
I definitely get what you're saying there, but I think that this is more reminiscent to um let's not use, well, I mean, you could use it, you could use Deshaun Watson, and let's just say that the things that Deshaun Watson has did has damaged this woman to the point where they will take that damage and damage their children
Mhm.
and damage that, and you get what I'm saying? Like there's more than the damage that what he's done, because trauma is a real thing.
We could.
So
Yeah, you
so
got a
but
point.
when we talk about, and like I said, and again, it's slavery was bad, but the things that have transpired since slavery are almost worse. Like there, I mean, legitimately laws and regulations and ordinances that were made to keep you below. So like there's a lot to it, man. There's a whole lot to it. So yeah, something's owed.
Hmm.
Um, a professor estimated this is 40 million descendants at 350 each. That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Probably not as much as the
Hey,
bailouts
but
got.
guys, you know what's going on right now. Now,
Yeah,
that's
the
it.
U.S. has paid. Yeah, the U.S. has paid other people. Tawana says she missed the beginning part because she's getting some work done to her house. She is enjoying her reparations. I am going to disagree with that, but that's that. Uh, she said that reparations would destroy our country. It would start a bunch of fighting, animosity.
That's another thing. I think it's a negative side of that too that you cannot ignore. That some people wouldn't agree with it, and I think at the end of the day, I know it's this concept of let's just fight each other, but at the end of the day, do people really want another civil war? Like, I mean, to think that like what happened during that thing, I think that's probably the one of the worst times in American history. But it was necessary to free black people. Do you think this is reparations is worth that?
Hmm?
Do you think that so at the end of the day, civil war happened, right? And the price for the civil war is for black people to have freedom. So I can
Not
measure
that.
that, and
That wasn't the issue. That wasn't the issue at all.
you
The
don't think the
issue
civil
wasn't.
war was fought for black people to be
Mm-mm,
free?
nah, I don't think
All right,
so.
what was the issue?
You said what was
What
the
was
issue?
the issue?
The issue is we had a divided nation, and so
Okay, all
what?
right.
And
That's it.
so the issue is the South thought that they were just gonna be like, nah, we would just be two different countries.
Okay, I'm okay with it. But at the end of the day, when that war was all settled, we could say after all the lives lost and all the people dead and all the bloodshed, we could say the thing that we got from this is people are now free. This set of people are now free. So let's say the country went to war over reparations. Can we say at the end of it all, it was worth it?
Country wouldn't go to war for reparations.
All right, that's what I'm saying. I don't think.
The
I
country
don't think
wouldn't
it
go to
would.
war.
You don't think the country would
So
go to war for
so what do
reparations?
you what do you think? You think my neighbor across the street gonna be so mad that I got to check that he gonna come over to my house and shoot me?
Could be.
That's what he
Could
gonna
be.
do.
Nah, I don't think that. I think that guy's a nice guy. You said he came over, got that lemonade, right?
Yeah,
That's a
I'm gonna
good
tell you.
one.
I'm gonna tell you what ends up happening is they'll get over it, and it is what it is. It's I think an acknowledgement has to be made,
I
but
agree.
again,
I agree.
they'll get over it. And nothing will happen. We're not. That's just can't be afraid of that. You can't do the right thing because you can't choose not to do the right thing because you're afraid. Can you imagine? You know what? I'm gonna tell you, like that concept that someone just said. Can you imagine how poor whites would feel? Man, like I am so glad that Tawana has that level of empathy.
Hmm.
Like just think about how much empathy you have to sit here and say, I know that my people were slaves. I know the laws for redlining. I know about segregation. I saw Jerry Jones holding up signs when that little black girl wanted to go just to go to an
Hmm.
integrated school. Like
Yeah,
and like I know that my people had green books, this and the third. Like I know all of these things and then just being like, but what about the poor whites?
that's what I say
Like
about
that takes a
like.
level of empathy that
I
it's
think it does. I
amazing.
think it does. I think at the end of the day, and this is true for both lines. If you cannot have empathy for both colors, then you can't have.
Yeah, no,
At the end of the
I
day, it's
do.
racial.
I listen. I
It's
have empathy
I'm pretty
because
sure the same thing you're expecting these white people to have empathy for poor black people is why wouldn't she have empathy for poor white people?
that's not
At
what
the
I'm
end of the day,
saying.
you're
That's not what I'm
asking white
saying.
people to empathize with your cause. So why wouldn't
No,
you empathize? Separating the two, that's what I'm saying. You cannot only care for black
no.
causes. That's not
Listen,
fair.
I'm I'm gonna say this right here. Right, it's not about
Hmm.
not having empathy, but
Hmm.
for anything. Do you know how many like you think Chicago is just bad just because it's bad, like it's on bad soil?
That's not what you're saying.
No,
Who's
I'm
this?
saying that it is poor there. Like it's
Yeah.
poverty. There's poverty all over
What's the
America.
most poverty place? What's the most poverty?
I'm gonna go with somewhere in Mississippi somewhere.
Mississippi is the most poverty place in the world.
Yeah.
Yes. So they just as poverty as Chicago and other places. It's poverty everywhere, but why does color have any? Can't you just feel bad for anybody that's poor? Why does a black poor person, white poor person?
No, the
I'm less
conversation,
concerned about
you're missing the context of the conversation. The context of the conversation is, I can only imagine if black people got reparations about what the poor white folks would think. Like that is not like, you know what I would think of? I would think of what it would be like for, because you know the young lady.
I want to hear the example because I don't get how you can separate this. I can just say all poor people need help.
Okay.
Instead of saying only black poor people need help.
Man, you know what? See, that's to me, in my opinion, this is the whole all lives matter. I have no problem. Like, I do believe all lives matter, but that's not what the topic of conversation is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you can't say all lives matter if black lives don't matter first. Like we're talking about an inclusive.
What do you mean black lives don't matter
first? Listen out before
racist,
you listen before you speak. What I'm saying is
not racist.
Hey Corey, I don't do this to you, so don't do that to me. What I'm saying is not in the term of black people over anybody else. What I'm saying, I know this, if you just listen, so stop, man. Stop, don't do that, man. What I'm saying is not that black people matter more than anybody else. What I'm saying is, like, when we get to the point, until we say, okay, we have to identify that this is what is going on, and they have to matter enough for, and us acknowledge the things they have done that have led up to the point where, like, the police brutality. Like, you got to remember what police job was, policing black people was anyway. Like, these things have to be addressed. You can't say all lives matter if you don't address the issues that are dealing with black people. And this isn't just a black thing, because I'm gonna tell you, if this was Hispanics, and we lived in a country where this happened to Hispanics, and this continuous abuse and things were still happening, even if a few of them started making some money, I would feel the exact same way. If it was white people, I would feel the exact same way. Because the fact of the matter is, if you sit around and you justify anybody being oppressed, a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Like, the fact of the matter is, things should be fair, point blank, period. So I can't be like it'd be like, this is what I'm saying to you. If a bully is beating a little kid up, right? And people decide, hey, we got to protect this little kid. And we say, this little kid life matters. And then the bully says, well, bully lives matter too. And we're sitting here, we're talking about bully lives matter, when the fact of the matter is, I'm not saying that bully life doesn't matter by saying that child's life matters.
Hold on. What I'm saying is how you're comparing white people to bullies.
That's not what I'm saying, Court.
That's not what you're comparing?
Okay.
You're not saying the person being bullied is the black person. The bullies are the white people.
Okay. All right.
And saying that, okay, bully lives matter.
Okay, so let's go to this. Let's use something simple here.
All right.
Let's go to Blue Lives Matter, right? All right. So when you had the situation where the things that really, I mean, I don't know where Black Lives Matter, the slogan started or the company started, but I'm gonna tell you, when I became familiar with Black Lives Matter, it was during, and maybe it was the hypersensitivity of the media showing all of the items that were happening, or maybe they were just uncovering the things that were happening to people of color. But we saw that, and people came up with the slogan Black Lives Matter. I didn't know anything about the company, but I thought it was a good slogan. I thought it was nice, and I felt like for one time in America, we all had gotten to the point where we were going to put our hands together and say, these things matter, right? And I actually felt good. I'm gonna tell you, I actually felt good. Like, man, like, people really acknowledge that, yeah, Black lives do matter. Like that's it was a good slogan. I knew nothing about the company, don't care about the company. The slogan sounded good, and then, you know, in regards to this police brutality, I started hearing things about Blue Lives Matter. And I have family members that are officers. I definitely believe their life matters. My family member, I definitely believe their life matters. What I am saying is, that's not what the conversation was, though. It can't be like, no, Black lives don't matter, all lives matter. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a specific group of people that we're talking about their lives matter enough for us to make some changes. That's what we're talking
Okay,
about. Point blank. Period.
what I would say is, why can't both of these exist in the same plane? Why do they have to compete against each other? Why can't Blue Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter? Why do, when you say Blue Lives Matter, it's contrary to Black Lives Matter? I think Blue Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter. Now I'm saying insane because at the end of the day, like, I was just like you until I found out the company. I didn't agree with the company, the people that was behind the jump. But the mantra, yes, I agree with the mantra still to this day. But like, I don't get why they sound like they competing against each other. I think at the end of the day, it's violence against police officers, violence against black people, and all these both are a stance to take. But I don't get why they're competing stance. Why is it saying, okay, Black Lives Matter, well, Blue Lives Matter? Like, why can't they both exist? And saying like, hey, let's represent the cause that you want to represent. Let me represent the cause I want to represent.
Like I
You know what
said,
I'm saying?
okay. What I'm gonna ask you a question. All right. Do you
Uh-huh.
acknowledge? Do you acknowledge that at the very least, that the way that African Americans have been treated in this country is at least a black eye? Do you
You
would you
said
agree?
at least there's a what?
A black eye. If
A black eye. What do you mean by black eye?
like it is something bad has happened. Even if you don't really believe it was that bad, but something bad has happened. The whole
Yeah,
the
you mean
okay.
I'm trying to. I don't want to sound like I'm not understanding, because I'm saying, like, you saying slavery has happened to black people, or you
What
saying
I'm saying is, I'm saying
bad
black people
things
as
happen, or
I'm saying for the African American race in America,
Mhm.
can we agree that bad things have happened?
Yes,
Okay,
I
all right.
agree.
So all Black Lives Matter, the slogan, not the company.
Mhm.
All it's saying is we acknowledge that bad things have happened to
Yeah.
you, and
Mhm.
they continue to happen, and we're
Mhm.
saying that you matter enough for us to care.
And I agree
Okay,
with that.
okay.
Why do,
Now,
when I say Blue
listen.
Lives Matter, that
Let me
attacks
finish
that?
it. I let you
I'm
finish
sorry.
it. Let me finish.
I'm
All
sorry.
right. So
I'm sorry.
we're saying I acknowledge that. Okay,
Mhm.
and you matter enough for us to address this.
Mhm.
Okay, that doesn't mean that everybody else doesn't matter. It does
Mhm.
not mean that white lives doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that blue lives doesn't matter. It doesn't mean
Mhm.
that nobody matters. That's not what they're saying. They're
Okay.
saying that this specific group of people, we acknowledge that and we see what you have gone through, and we're
Mhm.
saying that you matter. All you matter, and we're
Mhm.
going to do something about it. That's not an opportunity to say,
I'm
well,
not saying it
this
is.
matters or
I agree
that
with that.
matters. So that like, and when you really look at it, anytime someone says white lives or this that really it's a protest to the protest.
How
It's
is
it.
that though? That's what I'm saying. Why
Okay,
is that?
okay.
Why do you feel that
Listen,
way?
no, listen. It's not about the way I feel. It's the fact that like, if you use the context of anything else in life, if you acknowledge something, like if I say, um, if I say anything, I mean anything that you can think of, it could be in your relationship. It could be if your wife comes to you and says there's something in your life that you're doing that she doesn't like, right? And your immediate response is, yeah, but what about what you do? That gets nothing done. Because if you felt the way about something that she was doing, there was a time and a place to have that conversation. But in this particular
Mhm.
conversation, we're talking about something that she doesn't like for you. And for you, let me finish this part. And for you to say, well, what about when you didn't do that? You're being dismissive to what she brought up, and you're changing the narrative because you don't want to acknowledge what she's talking to you about. And that's all that is, Corey. It's
No,
not
I'm saying
about
that would be true, but I don't think when a person says Blue Lives Matters, it's saying that Black lives don't matter. I'm not saying that you're contraring anything about Black Lives Matter. Now, you what you made is, it would be a fair comparison. I do not think that's, like, when you saying, if I go out there and the wife said, "What about?" and you state that, I don't hear that when I hear Blue Lives Matter. I just hear, okay, police lives matter, and when I hear Black Lives Matter, I just hear Black Lives Matter. Attributing both of those is just something that I don't think it's the same.
I get it, man. Like I said, when I tell you, I honestly like it's not about me liking this particular person of color or me not liking this person. Like when I tell you, like I really legitimately have no issues with any person of
No,
color,
I don't
not
believe
color.
you, dude. I don't believe you, dude.
Not like it's not
Nothing
like
wrong
I
with that.
like I have people of any in my house like that's never a contest. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like stupid people. I don't like
Mm-hmm.
stupid people. Like I there's so many different reasons I can have to not like a person. The color is the last thing that I'm thinking about. I could care less about your color. I care whether you care enough to be informed about certain things, whether you whether you have a soft enough heart to listen to certain things. Like these are the things I make my friendship. It has nothing to do with things of color. However, I will say that when it comes down to these things, I'm passionate not because I think that you know what, honestly, I think the apology may even be more powerful than the reparations, at least an acknowledgement. Like, and I think that I'm gonna tell you, if I gave my personal opinion, I think that all lives matter. Wedge put a wedge where it could have been. I understand. I think a simple "I understand" would have been way more powerful than white lives matter too. And I think, and that's just my personal
I
opinion.
think at the end of the day, I think more people were unified under George Floyd than people give credit. I don't think a lot of
I
people
do.
saw that video and said, "Man, you know what? No, I think more people understood that video. You getting a little fuzzy here. Oh yeah, it was like it was trying to zoom in, but it's good now. But yeah, I think the country was more together on this thing that the media puts out. I think the media would like to show it as though people were divided on the George Floyd. I think a lot of people were together. Now, were people on against like the riot and looting and stuff that was taking place because of it? Yes. But I think at the end of the day, people looked at that video and understood that that was wrong. So I think majority of people would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, again, and man, some good comments, and we will have to get ready to get up out of here. But
Yeah, cause I'm
yeah,
missing this Golden State game. Y'all knew, boy. I love y'all. I love y'all.
yeah, yeah, I think as far as the ride, I'm like, listen, man, I said it before. If I was the fall, if my demise was to be at the hands of some type of injustice,
Mhm.
I don't want it to be thoughts and prayers, bro.
No, my thing with the
I don't
rioting
want
and
thoughts and
looting.
prayers.
My problem with the rioting and looting is quite simple. You destroy your own neighborhoods. It's other black people own some of these stores that you destroy.
That's not the point.
Yeah.
That's not the
And I
point.
think it's a better way to show you that you're upset than destroying a business that another black person, like, why is this person got to suffer?
Yeah,
I've
no.
seen these videos of black people making these claims. Like, it ain't like I'm
Yeah,
making
I'm
this
not.
stuff
I
up.
mean,
We can look at
you make it.
1,000 videos with black
You
people
making it.
saying it.
You making it seem like
Yeah.
I'm saying burn down buildings. That's not what I'm
Oh,
saying.
okay, okay,
No,
okay.
what I'm
That's what
saying
I'm saying.
is,
That was my problem with riding and looting.
unfortunately, if you do nothing, if you say nothing, and like, then nothing will change. Unfortunately, the world that we live is like you got to be
Draymond
loud, man.
Greenway.
You got to be loud.
Hey,
You
you
got
know
to
what I'm
be
saying?
loud,
You holding me by my ankle. I step on your chest. You know what I'm
and
saying?
it is
You
what it
wouldn't have knew
is.
you were holding on my ankle if I ain't step on your chest.
Yeah,
So you
and
agree with me on that part, right?
yeah, and then
Okay.
jump on it
Yeah.
and jump on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
All
is
right.
what it is, man.
Hey
Yeah,
man.
unfortunate consequence. But you got any closing things before we get out of here, bro?
Hey man, again, man. I love all these comments, man. I gotta really go through these Jones and cipher through 'em. Think y'all was man, I got to cipher through these comments. But yeah, man, I thank y'all again for tuning in, man. Hope y'all enjoyed the show, man. Be prepared. I think our next episode is Sunday, right? Ham? We Sunday?
Hmm.
I think I mean at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be talking about draft. Draft is next Thursday. So y'all
Yeah,
tune in Sunday. I'm positive
yeah.
it's gonna be a
Sunday,
draft episode. It gotta be.
yeah. Sunday's gonna be sports.
Yeah,
So Sunday's gonna be sports. All right,
most
man.
definitely.
See y'all later, man. Love y'all and love yours. We out.